Hi there everyone, this is a quick video that will briefly explain the Ken Burns effect that was used in the making of that intro that just played. Now Ken Burns was an editor who coined the phrase, and it was named after him, where a viewpoint will transition from one point of a photo to another point in the same photo. And I've done a quick one here where it zooms into this central point and then out again from this central point here, and all happens within a single photo, and I've broken it into two in this instance. In this photo it focuses from this point and pans out to the bottom right of that one photo, and again here from the bottom right pans up towards the top left. And just going to briefly explain how we put all that together. So with this one photo, we're going to start in this point here where the tractor is, and we're going to zoom in to this point and then switch over to this photo, which is the same photo that I've just put a red circle on to highlight, and we're going to zoom out from that point. And again here, this is one photo, and we're going to focus on this point, and we're going to zoom out to the bottom right over here. And in this photo, we're going to start at the bottom right over here, and we're going to pan up towards the top left over here. So this is how we implement the Ken Burns effect, and I'm using iMovie. Now here in New Zealand we seem to be region locked. I'm using version 10.0.8. We don't seem to be able to upgrade to the same version that some of you are using out there. It's not available in New Zealand yet, which is a little bit frustrating. But here we go. We start off by creating a new event, and we'll give that a name. We'll just call it the Ken Burns effect. And once we've created the new event, we then go and create a new movie. And again, I'll just call it the same thing. We use no theme, and we'll just call it again Ken Burns effect. Right, so this is our new movie that we're building. So we'll just shunt this out to one side so we can grab those photos. And we'll take the first one and we'll just plonk that in there. So that's one photo, and we'll take the second one, and we're going to transition between the two of those just to soften the effect of going from one to the other. And we'll just take the cross dissolve one and we'll throw that in there, and that'll just soften the transition from one of the photos to the other. Now, to start the Ken Burns effect, we go to the cropping tool, which will default to one of three settings, and that is the Ken Burns. And we've got two settings here, a start and an end for the transition effect. Now the end, we're going to put down here at the fine focal point is where this transition is going to end up at, and the start of the effect, we're going to have it going from the wide view and transition into that focal point. So we'll just play that and we'll just see what that looks like. So starts off wide, zooms into the central focal point right here, and then switches over to the second photo, which we haven't edited anything yet. So we go back up to the cropping tool, and as I say, defaults to the Ken Burns effect. Now we're going to so that's going to be our starting point. We're going to start at the zoomed in effect, and we'll just put that where our target is, and we'll come back out to the end effect, and we want that to pan all the way out to the wide view. So we'll switch over here, and we'll just run through that again. So we'll click on the cropping tool, and we're going to, looks like I'm doing this in reverse this time. So we're going to start wide, and we're going to zoom in to that point. So I've done it both ways, illustrating the point. So we're going to start wide, zoom into the central point like that, So we'll just do that in reverse again. So we're going to end up zooming out from that central point. So we'll just take the start point for that effect. We're going to start it nice and fine, like that. And we're going to end up out here nice and wide, like this. So we'll just play that, and there we go, zooming out. So this is all happening within one photo, and it pans out like a movie. So we'll just put a nice soft transition between those two, so it won't jump, you know, from one to the other. And then back out again. So that's the Ken Burns effect within this photo. I'll just put another transition there as we move to the other photo. So we'll grab that one. So we'll grab this photo of me standing next to the motorbike, and we'll start that process again within this photo. And just put the other one next to it so we can move on to that. So we just position that down there next to it. Right, so within this photo we go to the cropping tool and we'll start that process again. We'll take the start point and we'll put that nice and fine where we want the transition to start from. We'll put that up there on my face. Sorry about that, guys, I've had it all my life. That's what we got. And this is where we're going to transition to. Now we can have it transition from that point to this point, but in this instance we're going to go widescreen and have it transition out to the full view. So we'll just run that through, see what it looks like, and down to there, and then over to the other photo. So put a transition in there just to differentiate between the two. And we'll put in the peel out effect. We'll have that. Okay, so cropping tool, take the start point where we want that transition effect to start from, and we'll zoom that all the way down to the bottom right of the photo. That's where we're going to start the transition from, and we're going to have it zoom all the way out to include the whole picture. And there we have it. That's the effect. That's the Ken Burns effect. It's quite a simple effect, but it adds a lot of interest to what would otherwise just be a slideshow. And we can slow that transition down a little bit. There we go, nice and slow. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel.